note about using AI. I use Cursor. It looks like VS Code. There's a pop-up chat where you can not only ask it questions about your code base, you can tag specific code, specific files, or specific functions, specific types in it, and it will have access to them. You can even search the entire code base and give it some, conditions there, and it will search what it thinks it needs to know from your code base in order to answer your question. And then when you do that, once you're done with that, and it makes a suggestion, it makes it in a way that you can auto apply it back over to files and do other great things. You can tag docs. If I want to come in and go to docs, I can go to various blockchain docs that I've imported, and it will have access to the entire docs page. So it's a much better way than going over to ChatGPT, pasting in code and asking what's wrong. And you can additionally, Cursor's not free, but you can additionally select the model you're using from the more powerful recent models to some other models that might be free. It also provides inline help. You can come in and say things like, I want to create a new hash map that will hold some random values, and it will, there it goes. It's what you've said. And this is similar to Copilot, but it is much more powerful than Copilot. And if I start making a change in my code, let's say that up here, I want to not throw new error, but console.error, right? And then I come down here, it will suggest that I make the change there. And if I continue doing it, notice it immediately popped up, do you want to make the change here? And I just hit tab, and then tab. And I can continue making those like repetitive changes in my code very, very easily. So it's great for efficiency, but there are some things you should be aware of. First, it's great at finding bugs quickly. It can. If you ask it, you give it to file, you say, here's the output, what's wrong? It might very well find the problem for you. It can also help you clean up your code. And I don't mean that you should tell it to refactor everything, but it can suggest better idioms, better patterns, better things you might not know about that can make your code cleaner, more readable. It can explain new code. This is an often touted benefit. I don't find it as helpful as some might say, but it is nice to have it come in and explain to you what some library is doing or what some length of code is doing if you can't figure it out yourself. It can prototype if you use it correctly. If you give it enough information and enough access, it can write a sample function or a sample class for you, and you can then build off that, and it greatly increases your efficiency. It can consult docs pages, so you can ask it direct questions or find something in your code that's not lining up with the docs, and it can ease your workflow by automatically writing, for example, commit descriptions or pull request descriptions that you can then review. It can speed things up generally for you. However, Learn is brought to you completely free because of our great sponsors. Neutron, enabling developers to build breakthrough applications and onboard users from anywhere. Osmosis, the premier decentralized crypto exchange, and Obi, the smart new standard for asset management. If you want to become a smart contract developer through this lesson and others like it, head to heretolearn.xyz for uninterrupted course videos, coding exercises, and feedback directly from experts in the industry. It often writes insecurely. We're in the smart contract world. We don't want to write insecure code, but because the docs often have insecure examples, even if they clarify they're insecure, and because a lot of training material the AI has is very simple or insecure, and because you don't give it security concerns in your prompt, it kind of thinks it's just holding your hand and not writing production code, which should be the case. So it will often just skip over things, ignore security concerns. Sometimes it will tell you this and say this should not be used in production because it doesn't do auth checking or something like that. Sometimes it won't. So it often writes insecurely, which is not good for a smart contract context. Often misses things. You'll ask it to rewrite a file and it will just completely ignore a function or remove a feature that it doesn't think is important, or it just doesn't think at all, right? So it'll just remove a feature you might not notice for a while, like the old Google Translates that would remove the word not from your sentence and catastrophe would ensue when you read the resulting sentence. This will sometimes remove something and you don't know what's wrong later down the road. because something isn't happening that should. Its training material is often outdated, so it will suggest things that might not even work anymore, that are like old schemas and old formats for old packages, or old API whatevers. It will often do that, and it can suggest inappropriate solutions. And I don't even mean inaccurate solutions, although that's definitely true, but just over the top. Or, it'll have your smart contract doing things that smart contracts can't do, making external calls, importing libraries, using floats, whatever the limitations of your platform are. So you have to know the concepts, or you won't know when the AI is right or wrong. AI is a great tool that will help speed you along your way as you're looking for bugs, as you're prototyping, as you're investigating the right way to do things. But unless you know the concepts, you won't be able to catch it when it makes mistakes. So use it. I use it. You should use it, or the dev world will move away from you and you'll just be slower than everyone else. But use it judiciously. And you have to know the core concepts, or you won't even be able to engage with it. You won't be able to describe what you wanted to do or the pitfalls you wanted to avoid, and you won't be able to understand the code it produces in order to know whether, what changes you need to make, what updates you need to make, and whether you can use it or not. Once you're done with the Rust dev installs, head over to the next video and we'll get you set up to look at a sample Rust smart contract.